Okay, we're back. Hopefully. Well, this is the best we can do. Here we go. Yeah, so we there's actually, and ooh, mentor. Now we still need to get the, that much is certain. Let me know if you guys can see picture or not. Hang on, you guys can't you? Did it catch up? Okay. Yeah, is it back? You want to stack those that way, by the way. If you don't stack them that way, bad things happen. Anyway, kick it back to my opponent. I got to win 2 games in like 10 minutes. I'm sure I'm a little bit choppy, Amber, because like I tried to boot up the stream too early within restarting my computer. The growth spasms are interesting, by the way. My opponent's tech is interesting. His hand is escape shift, by the way, so we might just be dead anyway. I need to flip this Jace, and I have to thought seize him, right? So maybe that's why that was greedy for me to go straight for the Obsidat. Like if I don't draw away for, yeah, if I don't draw away for us to flip this Jace now, we're probably just dead. I need 5 or more cards in our yard, so yep, I needed to be able to. What's that, bud? Yeah, it's good, isn't it? Yeah, so we're just dead here, aren't we? Don't see a way we can actually win now. I mean, opponent's at 10. If I play the island, but we're gonna die to the escape shift next turn, unfortunately. We did some things. I took the prime time, but we're still dead to the shift, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, 7th land, escape shift kills us. That's disappointing. Growth spasm. Yeah, it is sweet, Dorotheus. It is sweet. Yeah, you used the extra mana to cast that Farseek. Yeah, you double seeked and growthed. Long forgotten Gohei. If this thing was only 1 less mana. I mean, here's the game. Like, we keep talking about how we don't think the deck has enough mana. Like, look at us this game. You know, just look at us this game. I know it's variance, but like, we're a 19 land deck, and look at us sitting on 5, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's so tilting. We're gonna die here. Oh well. I mean, if I had any piece of permission, we just win here. If I had drawn another Thoughtseize, we would win. You know. That's just really sad. Yeah, we flooded out. I bet our next card is something relevant. And it's just like, okay, well, BrewSpy, could we have dealt a little bit more damage? The answer is yes. Like, if we had a Name instead of Obsidat, we would have dealt more damage here, I do believe, right? Because a Name would be 4 damage on her own, and then the army of Bloodghast would have gotten to swing this turn and put him dead. And then if I had another reanimate spell, or we had flipped Jace. I mean, there's lots of things that it could have been different, right? Like this extra land could have been a Thought Scour or a Bauble. That would have flipped Jace. Jace would have cast the Thoughtseize and won the game, potentially. I mean, opponent could have multiple escape shifts. I'm not saying it was, 100%, but we knew he had a Thought Scour. We took the prime time, which, I mean, maybe that's wrong. You know, that was the very, very, very first thing we did. The very, very, very first decision we made in this game before any of these other things went wrong for us was the thought seize, and I thought seized to prime time. Maybe I was supposed to take the scape shift, you know? When deck building, consider fetches 75% of a land. But generally, combo payoffs are weaker. Yeah, I mean, I like Aname even as she is. Like, I don't think Sakai is the way to go. This is just what I'd slapped together for you guys tonight. I think that, you know, even after doing a little bit more testing with it tonight, my initial builds had nothing to do with Sakai. We didn't pull off Sakai once tonight. And I think part of it is because then it's a 3-card combo. So how do we make this more so just a 1-card combo, right? Well, you can't. Goryo's fundamentally is a 2-card combo. We still have one more match to play, but I just want to talk about this with you guys real quick. So, Goryo's Souls, the deck we're working on. I think fundamentally, I would rather just make it Goryo's Spirits instead of Goryo's Souls. Like, let's open another copy. Let's go back to the beginning. I think mana did come up tonight, and that's fine. I can make some changes. I can buy more lands and paper and make this list look like whatever we purchase in paper. It's fine. It's not a concern anymore after the very generous donation tonight. I could basically buy get into most any modern deck I want to for the tournament now, thanks to Koron. And you guys, of course, all the support I've been getting recently. So I kind of want to be on more delve threats, I think. Although last game we didn't do a good job showing it, this deck usually puts a lot of cards in the graveyard. That's the point. So I'd like to be on 2 delve threats. Also makes the Stubborns play a little bit more nicely. Don't think the Sakais and the Souls are actually where I want to be. Not that I'm not going to run any Lingering Souls. I'm just saying I want something more from this, you know? But yeah, the 20th land certainly can be discussed. I even like a Dredge land. Potentially, I thought about running Dakmore Salvage at some point, because worst case scenario, it can just be your turn 1 land. Best case scenario, you just bring this back to get the Ghasts back at some point. So that is a cool little neat pseudo synergy we could look into with our extra land slot. Is you can make it a tap land that has utility with all the Thought Scours and all the Jaces and all the self discard we're running. Get the salvage back. Dredge it back, put it into play, get back the Ghasts. And like that running even just the first or second salvage would increase the chances that when we Aname, we can immediately get back the Ghasts, and that's what you want to do. There are a lot of things I like with Goryo's, but the more targets for that deck consider. Yeah, I mean like Obsidat, I certainly don't mind the second. The benefit of the second Obsidat I did test too at some point. I own a playset of Obsidat in paper. It's not very expensive. The benefit of even the second Obsidat is not just for consistency of bringing him back. He's another creature that synergizes with Footsteps, whereas Sakai did not. So like then you've got a 6/6 split, and then Vryn's Prodigy still works with Vengeance. So then you've got 10. And then what's that last card supposed to be? I just don't know what it is. I mean, is it supposed to be a main deck denial? You could run a main board denial. The problem is you'd have to keep Obsidat in play. So that's one anti-synergy. I guess if you, let's say your opponent's going off, you can instant speed, reanimate Aname to turn on a denial. I really only have 2 good carriers of the denial in the main board, whereas Mentor can be a carrier from the board. So like ideally you want 6 or more creatures that are able to carry denial, right? That's another reason why I'm not on a playset of denials. With only like 6, maybe 7 creatures that can actually operate the Ferocious on this, I don't like running more than 2. But do you see where my mind is? I think there is another something. Now, there are other spirits I've looked into, like what is it, He with Nothing? It with Nothing? Something with Nothing. He Who... I think it's like He Who something. What about Crypt of Agadim? You want me to run a Crypt of Agadim? I'll definitely look into the card. We are putting a lot of creatures into the graveyard when we do that. The problem is most of them are leaving, right? He Who something. It's a spirit. I remember it being like another legendary spirit. Here it is. So I thought about He Who, and then there's also Who Hungers, and then there's another spirit. I think it's Kuro, Pit Lord. What about It That Betrays? Is It That Betrays legendary? What's up, Arthur? I mean, I looked into a lot of different spirits. Like these, there's also the one that, I think it's on my phone. Let's see if I can't find it. I mean, there's a bunch of other, there's a bunch of other spirits in a similar category as Obsidat. They're really solid to get when we do the Aname package. It's just there for different situations. Like, Obsidat is the most flexible. We can use this in a lot of different matchups, but there's some matchups where he's not good enough. And that's where something like He Who Hungers would let us turn all our blood gas into Cabal therapies. And then Kuro would let us wipe their board. There's another way to wipe their board, though. I'm trying to remember it. Marasma? And Legendary Spirit. I think it's another black spirit. But, you know, like, we can make it more of a toolbox, almost like a faster, less grindy Gifts Ungiven. It's not Kokosho. It's, I think she's 5 mana. I'll find it. Why don't we run the creature that gives spirits hexproof? Yeah, I thought about doing, like, some Anthem effects, too, Arthur. That's another possibility. Right, so we could look into, like, Geists. You know, Geist is 6 damage off of a Vengeance. And it's playable on its own. Like, I thought about talking about Geist. I don't really want to buy Geist in paper, but certainly if the deck wants it, I would run it. Where is it? Not Infernal. Cage Maro. So, like, there's a lot of other spirits I thought about in reference to Goryos and just in general. None of these play nicely, though, with Footsteps, right? Few, if any, of these extra spirits would play nicely. I think we do want the second Delve threat. All right. Just if we're going to have Stubborns in general. Like, if we're going to run Stubborns, like, you can't just let... I think 20th Land would serve us well. Even if it's just a utility land, helping the Blood Gas work a little bit more smoothly. I like the Jaces a lot. They naturally work. Like, I like this part of the deck. I do. And I definitely want at least one Obsidat. We could even cut one Footsteps. I kind of like the 2 of. But that's not set in stone. All right, hold up. This can go here. Okay. So I like this part of the deck. I like this. It's just missing a little bit of extra tech. I don't know what the extra tech is or should be or shouldn't be. What about Rattle Chains? Yeah, you could go into some of, like, the classic spirit stuff, right? You could run Wanderer, Rattle Chains, Drog Skull Captains. Those would all amp up the blood gas and make them a little bit more resilient or powerful. Why not Demigod? Yeah, I looked into Demigod. Yeah. So the other way we could go is big. Yes. The other way we could build the deck is just go big. Yes. And I thought about this idea too. My problem with Demigod is it's not as easy to pull off. So here's the issue with Demigod. So Aname would go get 3 Demigods, right? How do we return the last Demigod? Yeah, I looked into going big instead of staying small. And this would obviously be like a 22 or 23 even land deck if you wanted to go all the way to 5. We'd have to drastically change the deck. But yeah, I mean, like, Demigod is something else that you can set up with Aname. It's just... And I tried it for a little while. The problem is, how do we get the 4th Demigod? And that's the same problem with Sakai, right? Sakai, all these other like Demigod of Revenge is not legendary. And if I Footsteps it, it says when you cast. This is a when you cast Demigod of Revenge. Like, the problem with Sakai is similar to that of Demigod of Revenge in that they can both be set up with Aname, but Aname doesn't enable them. And I mean, the same argument can be made for Obsidat or any of these 6 as well. Like, this package of 5 or this package of 6, really the only things that work naturally with Aname are things like Bloodghast or Akuma or Akura. Was it Akura? There's like that 3-drop or 4-drop that's pretty bad because you have to sacrifice a land. There's also like Nether Trader. There's also freaking Nether Trader. I mean, like, I thought running some number of Nether Traders might be fine too. I think this is also in that category of, well, it doesn't, like, it's easy to turn on Bloodghast. I just have to make a land drop. That's the same reason why you can run Fatal Push in Modern, and it's great. You just need a fetch land. Bloodghast, you don't even need a fetch necessarily. You just need a land. We could cast Demigods, though. All right, Demigod would work if there's a spirit to return from graveyard to hand. I don't think there is though, Arthur. I've looked into it. Right? There's a spirit that's like a bad. Oh God, what is it called? Trust me, I looked at the entirety of all the different spirits, but there's a spirit that does return. But it's like 4 mana. It's like kind of a. What is that creature? All of the soul shifts will come up, but you'd need a soul shift 5. Haven of the Spirit Dragon, of course, only gets back dragons. I'm happy to look into it. I mean, there's Everstrike, but I don't have auras. This can reanimate itself, but it gets exiled if you don't have an aura. So like Everstrike would want you to do what you're doing with Geist, which is maybe running Steal the Godhead, but I don't know if I want to do that. But that's an interesting idea. Oh, that would be 5 mana, never mind. It's a little bit higher than I want to go. Yeah, Angel of Flight Alabaster. Return a spirit from your graveyard to your hands. That's a 5-drop. That's actually reasonable if you want to do the Demigod thing, maybe. Yeah, Kuda we talked about, kind of like the same category as Traders, just probably not powerful enough. I mean, the Bloodghasts on their own are probably not even powerful enough. There's, let's see, Soul Shift 1, Soul Shift 3. I mean, even a Soul Shift 5 still has to die somehow is the problem. So there you go, that's a Soul Shift 5. That's a 6 mana 2/2 with Fear. Yeah, we're still not there. This guy's interesting. Unspeakable, so that's 6 damage in the air, and he returns back the... This guy's interesting. I've thought about this guy, by the way, for a while. Because he's recursive. So basically, if you want to diversify your threats a little bit, Unspeakable is a way to do it. Dies to Footsteps? It does die to Footsteps, yeah. I mean, like, if we run more Footsteps, then we could start to talk about that, Arthur. And maybe that's where the extra spots in the deck go. I mean, the Bloodghasts have been good in some matchups, but not strong enough in others. So I'm not even dead set on these. I like this idea. Let's build around it. Let's make it work. Like I said, I've been brewing on my own, my lonesome, for about a week without you guys because I haven't been able to stream. My internet was down. But see, now Iname is interesting, but it's to hand. Yeah, Iname life aspect is when she dies, you may exile it if you do return any number of target creatures. So Footsteps would kill her, but it's returning them to hand, which is fine because that does the demigods. I mean, that's a way to make the demigods work as well, besides like Angel. Is if you wanted a legendary one to kill with Footsteps, but you could well, you wouldn't want to Goryo's her. But this would be a way for you, because you say any number, well, I just want to return 1. You return 1 Demigod of Revenge, and then but yeah, you have to get to so much mana for any of this to work. The cool thing about like Akuda and Trader is they're still kind of low, like the Bloodghast plan, or like Geist even. Geist, Goryo's Vengeance does still 6 damage, 4 of which is flying. I mean, like it's not, like if we're just trying to get there, I like Geist, you know? All right, is there a way to catch, and also this is something we can go grab with Iname. Like I have thought about running some number of Geist to Saint Trapped in addition to the Obsidats, because they're reasonable on their own, especially Geist. Maybe not so much Obsidat. We did hardcast him earlier tonight for a win. This was the stuff I was leaning towards. Like Kuro Pit Lord, kind of like a really bad Ballista effect. You have to pay life though. He Who Hungers lets us turn all our Bloodghasts into Cabal Therapy. Cage Morrow is a sweeper. The problem with her is you need a reasonable hand size. This would probably only kill boards of 3 or less. This would probably only wipe a board in Modern of 3 or less. Now, if Slagstorm is playable, like I see a lot of these Titan Shift decks running Slagstorm, I would assume that Cage Morrow might even be a reasonable tutor target. So there are other spirit targets we can talk about. Iname being an Entomb for. I wish there were others, like the idea of like Trader or Kuda. I wish there were other creatures besides Bloodghast that were easy for her to set up. You know, like again, that's why I thought Sakai was a potential. Why don't you just run Grim Discovery? Well, here's the thing, Dorotheus. I'm trying to make it not another card. So that's actually why I'm more interested in Obsidat, maybe even Geist, or some of these tutor targets. I'm trying to make the combo not another card. So like that's why I'm trying to go away from like cards like these 10, and I'm trying to focus on just. When I say not another card, I mean that Jace could flashback a Goryo's and I immediately get to utilize the tutor target. Does that make sense? I looked into like return stuff, like not just like Grim Discovery. There were some actually really cool ones for Spirit decks. There's one that like kills something, haunt, and then you get a or no, not that one. What was it? There's one in our colors that's tutorable. I can't remember what it did though. Anyway, I think I kind of want to still stay low to the ground for a little bit longer with the Bauble like delve threat build, because that is another benefit of Iname is she just gets a lot of stuff for us to delve with. Like she's another thought scour in a way. I think the idea is close. I think we just need to figure out what targets. Like I like how the Bloodghasts naturally work. We don't have to jump through a lot of hoops to make these work. So they already work with Iname. Great. Let's find another synergy though. Obsidat's been great. I would run even as many as 2 because it also, just like Iname, can utilize footsteps. So like I would even run 2. And then we need to cut. Yeah. I mean, if we want to be better against combo, we need He Who Hungers probably. If we want to be better against fair decks, Cage Maro or Kuro for removal. If we want to be better against control, Geist. So I think some of these 4 could even be considered. What about Arcane Adaptation? Play Adaptation, name Spirit, step 2 Goryo's Iname, and then do an infinite combo. Well, what would the infinite combo be, Arthur? I'm with you. I like Arcane Adaptation as an idea. I'm trying, though, I don't know if I want to make it multiple. So, like, this is already inherently a multiple card combo, right? You're already looking at Vengeance, like some form of Goryo's, either Footsteps or Vengeance. We're running more Vengeances because it synergizes with Jace, right? You're with me so far, right? I don't necessarily want to throw in a third card. I'm not at that point yet, Arthur. I'm happy to go deeper after we explore this idea. There are lots out there. You'd have to choose one. Oh, I don't know. Kikijiki? Kikijiki combo? I don't know if I want to go that deep yet. I feel like I'm already in pretty deep as it is. I think where I want to go, and we just added the 20th land, which is maybe a step in the right direction. I like the first Obsidat a lot. Would I also like the first Geist of St. Traft? Maybe. And then he's just something to recoup and beat with. The benefit of the Unspeakable is that... Oh, DRMC, thank you so much for the $20 10 minutes ago. Did I miss you? Hang on a second. Let me redo that. Alert. DRMC, I missed that, dude. That's huge. Thank you so much. That might have been when we went down. I'm so sorry. Thank you so much for the $20. Yes. Thank you for the $20 reduce. $20 hairs. Yeah, I mean, I like Unspeakable as well, though, in a similar role. It's just Geist is also just, like Obsidat in theory, is also potentially actually castable. This gets us back. It says return to our arcane card, so this would let us deal 6 in the air, and then also lets us get back a Vengeance or Footsteps. Cool, right? Again, probably not where we want to be. Like, I'd love to turn this into a tutor box, like almost just go for one of, like, 2 of these, like this for fair matchups or this for fair matchups. I think my issue with Cage Maro is the same issue I had with the Akuma idea, is that we won't always have enough cards to make it work. Like, we need enough, like this says at the beginning of your upkeep, if you have more cards in hand than each opponent, you may sacrifice the swamp if you do return it. So the problem with Akuda is also the same problem with something like Cage Maro, whereas if we just spend 6 or 7 life points, we wipe certain board states. What would Geist do? No, I just don't know if it's enough. Like, I think the ones I'd want to run are he and Pit Lord, to be honest, stream. Hold up, let me move these over. And the reason is, and I thought about these 2 when I was sleeving up the deck today, because this is one... Okay, so here's the dealio. Here's the dealio with adding more than just Obsidat. What does it do for the deck? So Iname's trying to be 8 power, right? She's trying to be blood gas, give or take. If you Goryos her, she also gets to swing. If you don't, that's not a big deal. 4/4s aren't that big in Modern anyway. So where's the value, right? Where's the value? What are we putting in the graveyard? What value are we getting out of one Iname? So we get the other 3 Iname. So there's your Thought Scour effect. 3 cards in the yard. You get your playset of gas. It's okay, we just need either salvage or to dredge back salvage or a different land to get all these back. Great. So Obsidat. This is reasonable. This is also something that we're fine vengeancing or footstepping in addition to Jace's. So why run something like this? Well, we've had a couple games even tonight where I had another reanimate spell or I had a flipped Jace and I could reanimate something else. And there wasn't something else to reanimate that was worth reanimating. You know? Why don't we just do something like Gifts? If we have a way to turn Demigod into a zombie, we could cast it with Gisa and Geralf. But that seems clunky. Well, how do you get the Giza, though? I mean, I'm fine just doing a more normal Goryo's build. Like, that's also an option. I have a lot of the cards for this in paper, a reasonable amount. I own Grizzlebrands. I could even do, I mean, like, something that I've enjoyed in the past in our janky Goryo's Vengeance decks has been one of the Praetors. The blue Praetor. I actually really like in Modern. Because, like, in Legacy, it's much easier to leverage the Grizzlebrand draws. In Modern, it's not as easy. Yeah, Jingataxis is another favorite of mine. It's a Praetor. It's not, you know, just like there's a lot of like legendary creatures out there that I think are really fun and abusable with Vengeance. Jin is very specific, and unfortunately, unlike Grizzlebrand, but we'll talk about this card for a moment. Unlike Grizzlebrand, like Grizzlebrand is either hit you for 7, gain 7, which is fantastic in plenty of matchups. I don't think we should necessarily downplay the power level of G-Brand. The reason I like Jin is combo. The same reason that I kind of want something like He Who Hungers as another tutor target as opposed to just Obsidat is that against combo, it's really important to be able to empty their hand. Jin does that. So Jin, if you Vengeance Jin Gitaxis during your opponent's end step, they have to discard their entire hand. Everyone has done Grizzle already, though. We got to be unique. Yeah, I mean, like, Jin is a way to be a little bit more unique. I haven't seen people try Jin. I like Jin. What about the new Spirit Dragon? Oh, you mean the old Spirit Dragon cycle? They don't really work with what we're trying to do, I don't think. Maybe. Yeah, I'm trying to stay away from gifts. I'm trying our reanimate spells to be all the different Goryo reanimation spells, because at least Goryo's works with Obsidat and Iname. None of these work with... well, okay, Kuro works technically with Footsteps as like a really bad sweeper, where it's kind of like a really bad Toxic Deluge. Yeah, think of it like a really bad Toxic Deluge. That has to target, though. I mean, if you want more percentage points against things you can't target, you would want the other creature, which is Cage Maru. I mean, I'd love to have all the different tools. Like, I'd love to, you know, give us the ability to have all the different tools. I just don't know if we have enough room, is the thing. Like, the 20th land I just added probably cuts off having this many different tutor targets. And that's fine. You know, we would need to find the right ones and just go ahead and, you know, accept some losses against certain decks because, you know, it's Modern. There has to be something that beats us. That's just the nature of the format, you know. Whereas, like, you look at Legacy, there's some decks that literally try to have game against everything in the format and can. Modern is you kind of have to pick your battles. And that's okay. That doesn't mean it's a bad format. That's just when I think about decks, I don't always include something for every different matchup I might face when I play Modern. That's something I'll think about in Legacy. I'm like, well, maybe it'd be nice to have something for Elves. Well, maybe it'd be nice to have something for... I haven't thought about Elves with this deck at all. That's technically a Modern deck, you know. So that would be a 5-drop. This would be another 5-drop, and then this is a... We're never casting that. I think we should choose between Pit Lord and Cage. Cool thing about Pit Lord is he can actually get in. We like kill all their blockers, and it's 9 damage, which is actually a pretty powerful swing, in theory. Why don't you play Simian Spirit Guides? Yes, and you can pull them out. I thought about that too, Dorotheus. Yep. So that is a cool little synergy for Iname. Let me show you guys what Dorotheus is talking about. Legacy has a smaller card pool. Sort of, in a way. You could make an argument for that. Yeah, so like Simians are also spirits, and Aname can pull them out of your deck, and then you're not top decking them anymore. And that would be really interesting. I don't know how well it would work. I think we'd want to be a different color combination if we want to do the whole Simian thing. And I think that's cool. I think Aname could, in theory, be strong enough as 8 tutorable power, right? We're talking about Bloodghast. We're talking about the fact that she's a free Thought Scour, because the extra Anames we don't mind delving away to something like Gurmag, Angler, or Tazagar. So she's like an extra Thought Scour. She's also is able to set up our next Vengeance or Footsteps. And I don't think that's zero value. Tonight you guys did at least get to see us go Aname into Obsidat. What about Sangromancer? Well, I actually was thinking about this, Devouring Greed. Like, there's another way. I mean, like, if you want to go 2 or 3 card combo, there are ways to do it. Like, Devouring Greed is a way to do it. As additional cost to cast, you may sacrifice any number of spirits. Target player loses 2 life, plus 2 life for each spirit. So, like, you end step the Aname, get all the ghasts back, attack with the Aname, deal 4 damage. Second main, Devouring Greed, sacrificing Aname and all the blood gas, and you would deal, I guess that's 14 damage? But like again, we'll put these idea over here. Like then it's like a 2 or 3 card combo. Aname didn't find those cards for us. Like the benefit of running this many reanimate spells, and maybe we'll run even more. I'm not sure yet. I think this might be critical mass though already. The cool thing about running some of these cards that could potentially win different matchups, like Obsidat's really solid against Fatal Push decks that might be running sweepers, you know. I mean, he dies to Dismember. I mean, as long as it's not a Path to Exile, we can always reanimate the Obsidat. That's why I think the first one has so much value, maybe even the second one. Whereas these other these other spirits are one shot. You know, like we get, like I think the He Who Hungers is the next obvious inclusion. Is that this lets us pay a little bit of mana, sack all our blood gas, and tear their hand apart. This is one, sacrifice a spirit, target opponent. He sacks himself too. Like let's say we vengeance him. Okay, we spent 2 mana. Let's say we have 3 or 4 mana. So I get to vengeance into take 2 or more cards. Are we done with Lich's Mirror? Did we earn any of the money? We did, crazy. Lol Koron came in here. I'm so glad you asked. Lol Koron came in here tonight and donated $600. It's not bad. So we are done with Lich's Mirror for now. Do you want to see the final build, crazy? And you're welcome to borrow it and steal the idea. If you want to see the ending build, I'm happy to share it with you. It did run Eidolon, unfortunately, in the end. I mean, there are other tutor targets I was thinking about running. There's actually one on our sideboard. So you're like, okay, well, what else could you set up with Aname? Kataki is another obvious. Just like I was talking about using Jin during our opponent's end step, Kataki is one we would reanimate in our own end step. So like, let's say, okay, so we're up against like Affinity or Lantern, or any other heavy artifact-based deck. You Goryos the Kataki during my end step, so our end step. So he'll be in play unless he gets Gal Blasted, but you know that can happen obviously. If he's still in play, he'll do his all artifacts have at the beginning of your upkeep sacrifice this unless you pay 1. So technically Aname could even set up sideboard cards if we want to. We can run Kataki whether or not we run that cuteness, but in theory Aname could also set up some sideboard cards. That's one I thought of, the Kataki. And you just Goryos it during, our end step. And he would be in play for their upkeep, basically. Is there a way to abuse Zubras? Yeah, exactly. Rally. Wow, not bad. Let me see. Absolutely. So let's table this for a second. Guys, I've only been working on this deck for a week, so it's definitely still prototype mode. We're working on it. But I like some of these tools. I absolutely love at least the first Obsidat because that's a very easy second reanimate. I think He Who Hungers is definitely up there. I think we need to choose between Cage and Kuro. I think we should pick one of these two and then run the deck again. Let me screenshot that and see if you guys can't help me pick maybe another spirit, or it could just be like a Geist of Saint draft. That's totally reasonable. That'll make us better against controlling decks or Junds, what have you. Well, it's okay against Jund. It's not amazing. Against Jund, I'd probably rather just bring back Obsidat, to be honest. So, like, we need to make sure we actually have matchups where we would want Cage or Kuro. We need to make sure that those matchups actually exist. There are definitely matchups for He. Like, there are plenty of matches we played tonight where I'd much rather would have just Cabal Therapy, like turned a Vengeance or Footsteps into a type of Cabal Therapy. There are plenty of matches where I would have rather done that than just brought back Obsidat. So I feel like we just didn't have a different suite of, like, Iname is basically, it's more than Bloodghast, I think, and we just have only scratched the surface. What about Patriarch's Bidding? All right, hold up. Let me find the deck. Madcap Mirror. Should be under M, of course. What did we call the deck? Oh, Madcap Burn, actually, is what we called it in the end. Nope, that's not it. There we go. This is the build we ended on. This is the build that we did. Lil Corn was very generous. He did end up giving us some of the prize pool, even though we didn't earn it. But we tried. So basically, I fused together a mostly creatureless burn. The one creature we couldn't get away with not running was Eidolon. And we faced a lot of Storm. I mean, a lot of Storm in the casual league. I ended up adding the Blazes to the main. I tried some drops. Tarkus Command was probably the best card in the deck, actually, because it let us ramp to some of these higher than usual plays. So 23 land, 4 Tarkus. And then the sideboard was an extra Flame Break, some because you do actually have to sweep the board in this deck, unfortunately, so, against certain archetypes, because like we're just creatureless and we're a little bit grindy as far as burn goes. I know it sounds strange. But we played a lot of Bogles, so the Palms were great. We played a lot of Affinity, so the Revelries were insane. I don't even know if we lost to Affinity, excuse me. And then we had an extra Smash we tested, so we had like, 4 Ace cards for Affinity. Some extra Skull Cracks to supplement the Atarkas. Some Squisits, because there are a bunch of people trying to jam controlling decks right now. And then extra Blazes. So I'm happy to give you the list if you want it. Congrats on the payout. Yeah, it was huge, though, Crazy. He gave us more than we deserved. We did not actually deserve the extra $600. But Lil Corn has been a long-time supporter of our stream here, the BrewSpy channel. And I'm going to put that $600 to good use. We're going to put it towards a new computer. And potentially some of that might even go to the me playing Paper Modern again. So very excited about that. Here you go, Crazy, if you want the list for your own. I mean, you don't have to run Eidolons. We just kept running into Storms, so we just ended up adding them to the deck. So it's virtually creatureless. You can run, like, Gargadon in these spots. Gargadon also is something we tested with the Madcap Mirror combo. Yeah. It's a fun deck. I mean, you could build this really budgeted and have a lot of, have a blast with it. Like, if you cut the Eidolons, this deck becomes tremendously cheaper. If you cut the White Splash, I would actually recommend cutting the White Splash before cutting the Green Splash. Revelry and a Tarkus Command are really important. So if there's somebody out there on the internet that's like, yeah, I would play Burn except like the latest builds of Burn are so expensive, this is really budget. Just run like a more budgety mana base. Run a mana base that can at least cast Atarkas and Revelry, and you'll be fine. You don't necessarily need Eidolon, Helix, and Palm for the deck to work. Like this is really the core of the deck. Madcap, Experiment, Flame Breaks, Blazes. Like, just make sure your mana base can pull off multiple red mana, and you're fine. If you want to go true budget, you could even consider cutting the green. I wouldn't recommend it, but I mean, I think this deck could be bought in 2 layers, and then maybe down the line, you just eventually turn it into stock Burn. And you buy into your Goblin Guides slowly but surely. I mean, like, when I started playing Paper, I bought into my decks very slowly. I never would just drop $500 on a deck. You know, like, and you're not even necessarily sure at that point if you love the deck. Like, sure, you've maybe goldfished it a million times. Maybe you've borrowed it from a friend, and you're like, this is my deck. I love this deck. Well, no, people change, tastes change. I'm very surprised I've stuck with Goryo's Vengeance in Legacy as long as I have. Tin Fins. I still enjoy the deck. I think if I had stuck with Reanimator, I probably would have been bored with it years ago. So I'm glad I kind of went with it a little bit. Something a little bit off the grid. Eidolon's getting a re-release though. It might get cheaper. Eidolon's a spirit. There you go, Dorotheus. So we're gonna reanimate that, right? I think these are our guys. I think we need to choose. Can you guys help me choose between Cage and? I think it's either Cage. Yeah, it's either Cage or it's. I'm just cutting all these extras. I do like the idea of Geist, though, in this deck. There we go. That's a 15. Yeah, I'm interested to run it back, maybe with 20th land. I think, though, our first build, we should choose between Cage and Kuro. I'm okay being a little bit worse against something like... I don't think Cage is going to happen soon enough to even matter against Bogles. It might against, like, Elves or some of the other go-wide decks of the format. We might miss having Cage. There's a lot of board states that Pit Lord can answer that Cage will not. We just won't have enough cards in our hand. So I really like the idea of He Who Hungers as another tutor target. I really like Obsidat. I like adding in another Delve threat. We had several games where we had plenty of graveyard and nothing to do with it, so we should add the extra Delve threat. Run Kaiga. What? Oh, you're talking about this card? Or Kuro? Seraph says, Storm's a deck I bought quickly. Still had half the cost before I bought in. Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying that's always the case. All right, these are the ones I really want to test. These reanimate targets. These 6. Well, okay, Jace is also technically. I mean, Jace doesn't need to be tested. Like, Obsidat and Jace don't need to be tested. There are already plenty of builds that have been built around Jace and Obsidat, Goryo's Vengeance style of Esper. That's already proven. We don't need to necessarily prove those cards. They already are worth their weight, I think, in this kind of a strategy. But he and Iname are the ones in the Bloodghast package. Like, basically, we've swapped kind of a lot of the spots that would normally be souls for Ghast. And I'm not saying that's necessarily better. We're certainly lower to the ground, but that doesn't even mean it's not necessarily a good thing, you know? We could start considering mainboarding the first Denial now that we have a second Delve threat. I think that's still maybe wrong. I think these get a lot better once we bring in even more cards to power them. So I don't think I want to mainboard Denials. But I like the 2-1 split of Denial to Dispel, actually. I love the Kataki idea. What about Kokosho? Well, okay, so Kokosho's interesting, right? We probably still just have to try to lean on Obsidat for that matchup. So you want me to run Kokoshos? So Kokosho is interesting, right? So the problem I see with Kokosho is it would only work with Footsteps. I want all of our reanimate targets to work with both Vengeance and Footsteps. Kokosho only works with Footsteps. He wouldn't work with Vengeance because it's when he dies. It's a when he dies trigger. I can't pronounce that. I'm sorry, Dorotheus. As much as I love watching anime, I can't pronounce that pronunciation. I can try. But Kaje? It's more like Kaje? Interesting. Okay. Kaje? Oh, maybe we shouldn't run it because I can't pronounce it right. I think it's weaker than Pit Lord. I think Pit Lord's a lot stronger, potentially. I think the fact that he's also going to get in for 9 damage when he's Vengeanced is just a lot more valuable than how she'll probably play out. Like, she might kill their board. Like, I'd have to have a lot of cards in my hand, though. What's nice is we don't actually have to discard our hand. So she says, sacrifice, all creatures get minus X, where X is the number of cards in your hand. So at least I don't have to, like, discard my hand. But I still almost would rather just pay some life points to make sure we kill everything that we need to. Alright, the deck runs a lot of support cards. The biggest impact should be included. So DRMC thinks it should be Kuro. I think it should be Kuro because Kuro doubles also as 9 damage. And yeah, I mean, I should be able to pay enough life points to make sure he connects. I mean, I'd like to just end the game. I'd like some number of spirits that just end the game. He technically ends the game, could end the game faster than Obsidat does. Like, Kuro could clear a path for all of our Bloodghasts to get in. And that's the thing, like, that's definitely a sequence from us. Like, turn 1, Thoughtseize myself, or turn 1, Bauble. Okay, Aname's on top. Thought Scour her into the graveyard, turn 2, Vengeance. Okay, now we have Aname, right? Aname goes and gets all the Bloodghasts into the graveyard. Cool, we hit them for 4. Awesome. Turn 3, we wouldn't want a Footsteps. We'd want to hopefully have a second Vengeance. Vengeance the Pit Lord. Pit Lord comes in, kills all of their blockers, all the Bloodghasts get in, and Pit Lord gets in and they're dead. I'm not saying we won't run some number of Obsidat, I'm just saying that's a potential sequence our deck could do. Oh, we just played a whole league, woo, you missed it. We might do another game, though, with the current build. I don't tend to, like, those comments don't tend to make me start to play. I'd rather you were patient like everybody else. But we do have a build of the deck we were working on. So this build was trying to do like Lingering Souls and Sekai. It just didn't really come together. This is the build that's in the league. Although we did start off the league facing off a play. I literally went up against a play set of Relic of Progenitus. We played Tron and they saw 4 relics. What would be sweet is Double Strike. Yeah, I mean, there's like, we could look into other, like, Arthur, there's like, you talked about running the Anthem, like the Spirit Anthem creature. Yeah. That's true. Some sort of buff. I think there's a legendary that gives like +2/+2. A legendary spirit that, I think it's red though. But that's okay, like we can run off color, like I was already trying to run a green one. I think there's a legendary spirit that does +2 to your whole team. You try to find it. No, it's not Ryusei. It is none of these. It is this guy. No. This guy? No. Nope. I remember it being red. That's all I remember. I've already looked at all 300 of the different legendary. This guy. Yeah, whenever he attacks, creatures you control get +2. I actually did consider this creature. I think Pit Lord's going to be better, though, because there are other board states we can utilize him. Like, I actually don't have any removal, which makes me, very, like, main board, which is terrifying. Well, no, we do. We have, like, a couple of brutalities. What about Leyline of Sanctity? Unless the Mentor... You know what? I still prefer being able to do that, DRMC. We had a couple games tonight that was actually really sweet, but hold up. This is an idea. Yeah, Patron. I don't think there's another one that does that in our tribe. Yeah. Alright, so let's cut this. That's a 60. I think this might be our guy. I think this might be it. I think these might want to be the 3 additional spirits. At least initially. So he against like combo or control, Obsidat for everything else, Kuro for if we just want to clock in, get in there and have some at least small threats we have to remove. Like against like the Coco Company decks, like I'll absolutely wish we had something like this to just like kill all their combo pieces. Could even use it again. I mean, against Storm, I would still rather He Who Hungers, but this also could have applications for killing their enabler. Hey, what's up? But let me show you really something really quick. So the deck actually was built backwards. If you guys are just joining us, I actually started the build as a mentor deck, and I built the deck backwards. In other words, it's kind of confusing for me to explain to you guys, but let me break it down. So I didn't actually start with this configuration. I started with all of this in the main board. The mentors, the paths, maybe even the explosives, because it has synergy with mentor. You can just play it for 0 to get a proc, to make a monk. And this is actually where, yes, it's fine, where I started. And I wasn't running, and I was running 2 delve threats, and I wasn't running the Amane, the Iname package yet. I hadn't gotten that deep yet. I hadn't gone that deep yet. I was just running like some of the normal Goryo stuff. So this is a 59. Yes. No. One more card could have been main, and I can't remember what it was. I think it was maybe just like a Miser's Surgical or Dispel. Might even be in the Slaughter Pack because I like this card. Anyway, something like this was the original build of the deck. It's good to see you. Kami, how's it going? So something like this is where we started. And I think, yeah, something like this. And then I built the deck backwards because I didn't really think this was strong enough. So then I said, well, what if Mentor's in our sideboard plan? And then that's kind of where the deck started to evolve from there. And then what else is sideboard? The paths and the denials. And okay. Yeah. And then this is all potentially main. Does that make sense? I know that's a little bit confusing. I mean, sometimes it's interesting. I mean, you play more sideboard games than you do main board. In Magic, not just in Modern. In Magic, you'll play more sideboard games than you will main board. I mean, you shouldn't always build your deck backwards. Like, you shouldn't always think about your sideboard plan versus your main board plan. Why don't we play Whale of the Nim? Turns into a 5-mana 2-card combo. We can literally flip every creature from our deck onto the field. Whale of the Nim. Well, and somebody also said look into Crypt of Agadim. I still haven't looked into Crypt. Whale of the Nim. Oh. Okay, so wait. So Goryo's the Iname, put all spirits in your graveyard, cast Whale, put all spirits onto the field. What? Maybe you're thinking of a different card? I mean, you could even go as deep as like Living End and As Foretold. I mean, I like As Foretold with Jace. We've talked about this before. Jace utilizes As Foretold decks quite nicely because if you flip him, his -3 actually can cast Ancestrals from the yard. So, I mean, that's another thing we could do. I think maybe he doesn't know what Regenerate is. What? This would be a way to do it. I just think that's a very different deck. But you'd run like some number of Living End, and then you'd run some number of Ancestral. I mean, the thing is I didn't really want to grind. Like, I've seen the Esper Goryos. I don't necessarily have the tools to. I mean, if I could borrow Liliana's, this is a different story. They actually went up due to what happened in the new set. I played when Regenerate was a thing, and I still only sort of understand. But yeah, I mean, this is something you could do, and you could do, and this is a really cool combo. It's a 3-card combo, by the way, stream, if you're wondering. This is something we've played in the past. Jace Vryn's Prodigy flipped into Planeswalker. You have Ancestral Vision in your graveyard, or Living End, and then you use As Foretold to cheat Jace flip form into casting this on yourself, or just casting that. Like, this is a deck we've tried before, Ancestral Jace. It works. That's a legal play. I know I used the word cheat, but yeah, that does work. But I don't think that's what I wanted to do. I kind of wanted to be a little bit lower to the ground. And again, like, Obsidat is the opposite of that, right? Like, the whole Aname Bloodghast package makes sense with low to the ground, and it's unfortunate that one of our engines is technically a grindy Planeswalker, right? Jace. So it's like, okay, BrewSpy, you say you don't want to be grindy, but yet your sideboard is a bunch of mentors. You're trying to slow the game down with brutalities and thought seizes. You're trying to, play like 4/5s and 5/5s. I mean, like, I get it. I get that the deck is being pulled in a bunch of different directions. And I get, in the same breath, I'm trying to tell you guys I'm trying to build a lower to the ground. I mean, even this Plains could be in the sideboard, by the way. I'm trying to build a lower to the ground deck. Actually, the original build was 2 swamps. Anyway. Does it make sense? I'm fully aware that the deck is still very much underdeveloped. I still wanted to play it in a league today, and we took a game. Well, let's see if we can take another one. Like, I still think that it's very, very under... I mean, like, the Lingering Souls Sekai plan doesn't make sense with that at all. I felt like these were pulled in 2 different directions. Like, Lingering Souls and Sekai pulls the deck in the direction of, oh, it does want to play turn 5 and turn 6 and turn 7 and so on and so forth. I think that running different spirits will maybe tailor the deck a little bit differently. Like, Kuro would make the deck want to end the game on the spot. Yeah, Kuro we would want to end the game immediately. Exactly, dear MC. And I think that's the thing, is that's always been my issue with any Goryo, Esper Goryos, is that they all seem to have that same weakness. Is that they never just end the game on the spot, right? You need to be like Grishelbrand. You need to be... I probably should top this. Yeah, I'm going to top that. You need to be a little bit more lower to the ground. You need to be straight up Dredge. You need to be... Uh-oh. Bogles. We need to Thoughtseize our opponent. Well, okay, we could get the information if I'm just cracking this fetch, and this Bobble's not going to hit anyway. I kind of like to use Bobble on ourselves, though, so we can set up, like, when we're supposed to Thought Scour. Let's just Thoughtseize the opponent, and we'll figure out how best we want to use this Bobble in the future. Bogles? Yeah, he's Bogles. So we take the dude, easy peasy, lemon squeezy. Could also just bobble our opponent, and then we know if we need to Thought Scour ourselves, or if he's about to hit another threat. We don't have to bobble immediately. Can wait till after he's drawn. And then that would be a card we potentially could Thought Scour away. Oh, did he just draw another... Are you kidding me? Oh, he's getting the Arbor. Okay. Yeah, that'll work. Alright, so we're going to use the Bobble on ourselves and see if we want to Thought Scour immediately, or if we want to wait till after the Bobble trigger. Alright, Thoughtseize. I will take another Thoughtseize, absolutely. Opponent has a Daybreak Coronet in his hand. So we will let that draw trigger happen. Drew Dark Slick, excellent. Alright, so let's Serum. Alright, Sekai. Oh, unfortunate. Okay. Well, it's not the end of the world. I mean, it seems like the end of the world, but it's not the end of the world. I do need third land drop. So I think it's bottom top. We Thoughtseize his Daybreak. And then what? I guess I kick it back. Yeah, we know our next draw is a Watergrave. The hell am I just watching? Hey, what's up, my papa? The hell am I watching? You're watching Modern. You're watching a Bogle's opponent that mulliganed and suited up a Dryad Arbor. Alright, so we know we're drawing that land. We want that to happen. I guess I don't have any... Yeah, we used up the Bauble and the Vision, so I don't have a way to check the top of our deck anymore. So, yep. Here we go. Let's hit. Ooh, Obsidat. Okay, we hit. We definitely hit. Excellent. Alright, so let's play this Watery Grave tap to kick it back. So we're going to get back Obsidat and hope that it's enough to race this Arbor for now. Umbra. Okay. Well, it doesn't beat Obsidat yet. Almost. It almost beats my Obsidat. So go to 7. Goryo's Vengeance. Okay, much better. I'd rather Goryo's the Obsidat than Footsteps it. Ooh, do I wait, though, until he attacks, and then we get to take out the Umbra? Or do I want to make sure we connect with the Obsidat? I guess the detriment would be if he does manage to top another enchantment. Yeah, it wouldn't matter. We might be dead anyway. I probably should just get in with the Obsidat while the getting's good, right? Put him to, let's see, he would go to 17. He'd go to 12. If I just go ahead and Goryo's the Obsidat now, we put him to 12. Yeah. I think we just have to try to race and hope that the life gain is relevant. I did Thoughtseize twice, that's why we're at 7. It's not so much my opponent's attacks. Not so much my opponent's attacks. So yeah, we drain him to 17, we'll put him to 12. We'll flicker the Obsidat. Obsidat Daddy could beat the Arbor, depending on our opponent's draws. We'll do the trigger that way the Obsidat resolves first. Yep. Blink it away. You'd rather block? I think blocking was maybe correct. There's also a chance that he just hits another enchant and we don't get to block anyway. Like, this is first strike, 4/4, so any other... yep, he found one. Yep, Hyena. So, no, it's good the decision we made, but now we're, like, it's going to be really close. Like, I need something else. Yeah, I go to 3. It's funny, we were just talking about Bogles, and here we are. Alright, so let's bring back the Obs. So am I blocking already with this Obsidat? Looks like that's the case. Alright, my best Obs deck was Mardu. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think I'm already just blocking with Obsidat. I mean, we could bring him back. We have a Footsteps. That's just really sad that that's already what we're doing. So I'm at 5. Well, we were doing something against the Bogles immediately. So we're not going to blink out the Obsidat. It needs to block here, unfortunately. 1 land. Feels bad, man. Yeah. It did. I would much rather chump with Iname than Obs, of course. I'm going to say no. I mean, this is why they run the Dryad Arbor, if you guys are ever wondering why Bogles runs it. It's because they really need to have something to pants. They have to have something to slap all the gear on. We block, and we were very sad. We can bring this Obsidat back, potentially. It's not the end of the road for him, necessarily. Am I supposed to just fetch now? Am I fetching now? Another Bogle? Oh yeah, this is Lily, exactly. Like if we were like the normal build of Goryo's, you run like 2 or 3 Liliana, and it's a non-issue. Or like Lingering Souls would buy me a lot of time right now, and that's actually no, that is in this build, isn't it? Yeah, we could draw to Souls here. If I Footsteps, we're dead, right? Yeah, if I Footsteps, the Obsidat, we're dead. All right, Serum Visions, nope. Oh wait, no, we're fine. So there's a Lingering Souls on top. So we're going to bottom this. I'm going to top this. I'm going to Thought Scour us. Now we have access to the Souls. There's the land drop we were looking for. This is not necessarily Overstream. I think it's just a little bit too late, though. Lingering Souls buys us a bit of time. Yeah, so this is 6, so I do have to bring back Souls here. So let's bring back Souls. It's not over yet. I mean, it's most likely over, but it's not over immediately. That's 2 chump blocks, and then I can Footsteps the Obsidat back, we blink it, or I could just play a Name. So maybe this isn't over. Am I supposed to block and kill this Bogle? I don't think so. No, I think I keep the chump blocks strong. It's tempting to kill Bogle for sure. Here the answer is that can be a bit more aggro, but is it worth it? Alright, so Delta will bring back all the blood gas we're about to receive, and he's at 9. Can we kill him this turn? Hang on, let's do some math. If I just hard cast Aname, does my opponent die? Actually, does my opponent die to just Obsidat? Well, no, Footsteps doesn't let us attack with it, so I think I just hard cast Aname, get all the blood gas, and win the game, right? This is what we're here to do, right, stream? Yes, I would like to use my ability. Let's get all the dudes. He's at 9. These are going to have haste, guys. Okay. Not sure why you milled yourself. Couldn't you have scoured the opponent? Oh, yeah, I could have. You're right, Kami Nook. That was foolish. All right, let's bring him back. Your opponent has a chump blocker, though? He does, but we have a chump blocker, too. He's not dead yet, yeah, but this is going to be close. Am I not supposed to attack with the Spirit? Just thinking, we're at 3. Well, I like attacking with the Ghasts. No reason to attack with the Spirit, in your opinion? Yeah, I like, yeah, so we swing in. He blocks. Goes to 3. No, don't attack. Opponent is questioning his life. We just won! We won! We did it! We did it! Stream, we did it! We did it! We actually have, like, relevant cards for this matchup. Holy crap. We did. Okay, we gotta switch over to Mentor, right? He's gonna, like, rest in peace us. And, like, leyline us. And so I have to, like, Thoughtseize myself. That was great. Oh, my goodness. That was awesome. I don't believe it. I mean, I wouldn't have believed it if it didn't happen. Like, Aname, go grab all the blood gas in the deck, win the game. That was sick. See, that's what we wanted to do. We just wanted to do that turn 2 instead of turn 8, right? I mean, like, we just need to figure out how we can... I mean, there's a lot of tools that the deck has that we already aren't making work. Does that make sense? Like, this fundamentally might even be where the deck wants to be. Like, Aname, setting up the blood gas, tutoring up the Obsidat, then we reanimate the Obsidat, good game. Like, we don't have to go flashy. Like, we don't have to go as splashy as Sakai. That's just, I think that's what I'm realizing about the deck. Like, maybe this is good enough. Like, Aname, go get all the blood gas, set up the Obsidat, reanimate the Obsidat. It might even be fine enough just as that, you know? I don't know. We haven't played enough games yet. But it might be a strong enough synergy even without adding extra fixings like the Sakai we were trying or some of these new cards we're talking about like Kuro or He. Like, these give the deck different angles than Obsidat to where to go after the Aname Bloodghast army is there. You know, after we give them the beats, right? After the Bloodghast army. Like, how do we go from there? I mean, these give us different angles. Like we can use the Bloodghasts to tear their hand apart. Kuro lets us wipe the board of small stuff and get in for 9. Obsidat lets us grind if we want a longer game. So these do let us proceed differently. Interestingly enough, I think the Sakai is just a pipe dream. You have to run so many Lingering Souls for him to work. Turbogast. Why don't we just play... Kami, you just mean why don't we just play Dredge? I don't have the cards to build Dredge in paper. I'm trying to work with what I have. Do we want to see how he sideboarded? Like, maybe I can't think of another card I want. Maybe just Surgical. I mean, Path, because of their 2-drop. I guess like 1 Path is fine because of their 2-drop. Yeah. No, I'm saying do Faithless Looting. Well, then we should just play Hollowed One, right? Oh, this hand's bad. Oh, wait, we're supposed to cut Footsteps when I cut Aname, aren't we? Yep, we're supposed to cut this potential. Well, okay, this still works with Obsidat, but, well, we probably should mulligan this anyway. It doesn't have... And my opponent kept a 7, so I need... Yeah, I need cards like Disenchant. If he kept a 7, that means he has a turn 1 hexproof Bogle, obviously. This hand's fine? Nah, we need something stronger. I have played it before, Tribute. It is fun. Hollowed One doesn't put 4 gas in the yard, though. Looky, looky. Not bad, opponent. 1 mana, win the game? I mean, Bogles, right? I'd love to spend 1 mana and win the game, wouldn't you? It seems pretty overpowered to me. Look, got 1 green mana, win the game. I mean, come on. Alright, let's try to strip the relevant enchantments. Oh. Well, this is a clunker. You don't even have another... What? Why would you keep this, opponent? You don't even have another enchant. What? Is there something I'm missing, stream? Am I supposed to take a scout? Boogles is seeing... Oh yeah, Boggles is seeing a lot of play due to Jun and Jace in the meta. That's fair. All the more reason for us to be bloodgasting people. Just take the Coronet for sure. I think taking Coronet's correct as well. I'm not too scared of the extra scouts. I will kick it back. We get to play Jace. Yeah, it seems really weak. Like, if you don't have another enchant to pair with Coronet, you can't even use it. I'd love to draw an Engineered Explosives and he just plays out all his scouts. That'd be insane. 100% take Coronet. Sure. Can we just draw Engineered Explosives, please? I would really like to draw that card now. Alright, so we play Jace. Getting our basic planes? Probably not. We still probably favor... I guess we will. I was going to say our deck still probably favors black, blue mana, but it's fine. We'll get all our colors. Jace. Jace can block a Glade cover. Alright, he's drawing. Nothing? Yeah, opponent's just drawing a bunch of air. This is great. I would have taken a scout. Then you try to 2-for-1 him when he goes for the disenchant. Yeah, that's another thought I had, Blake. Believe it or not, I was thinking about the potential of that. But I think I'm just supposed to slam Mentor. If I fetch, we still can't flip Jace. The only way to flip Jace this turn would be Thought Scouring. I don't necessarily want to flip Jace, though, immediately. I'd rather just slam Mentor. Like, Jace blocking might even be more relevant. Like, block and then draw a card. Mentor's going to run him over. Yeah, I think Mentor is just where we want to be. And we probably want more blue mana. So let's go. Kick it back. Okay. Umbra. Doesn't even want to attack. Interesting. Okay, do I want this extra mana? So what does the Godless Shrine enable us to do that Thought Scour wouldn't do for us? I mean, I'd probably just disenchant. Actually, disenchant into denial is a play thanks to Mentor. So maybe I do actually want the extra mana. Just bin the stubborn? Why? I can turn it on with Mentor. Cast this into this or cast this into this. Ferocious is only checked upon resolution of the denial. Mentor can turn on denial. That's kind of one of the deck's things. I just have to cast 2 spells. You like binning Stubborn? This is a negate. This is a negate. Why would I bin my negate? I think it actually might be Shrine or Scour. Scour plus Denial is a good play too, potentially. Because I have 2 blue mana, I can Scour into Denial. This is power 4. I'm going to ditch the Shrine. I don't always agree with you guys. You know that, Mapapa. Yeah, just bin the Shrine. I think it's fine. Tazagur's interesting. I don't know. That's what I feel is the right. Okay. We could just flip Jace here. I kind of want to be a little bit more reactive, just how this is drawn up. I don't necessarily... I'm okay with us activating Jace maybe during his turn, but I kind of would rather be a little bit more reactive just this one turn, like we have this into this or this into this, and then the next turn after, like, play Tazagur, flip Jace. It's much easier. Just flip the Jace now. What's the benefit of flipping Jace on this board, though? Flip Jace. Hold tight. I think I'm supposed to hold tight, like Barkeem's saying. Like, I have so many reasonable plays if we just hold tight. No, try to flip the Jace, then you should Tass and Thought Scour. Then you flashback. Well, I'd honestly rather just flashback the Thoughtseize, if anything, but I think his hand's empty. Yeah, but if we hold here, we get to deny and disenchant the Spider Umbra. I think we're going to hold tight for 1 turn. We can still end step, flip Jace. It's not a big deal. See no reason? Yeah, I think we just pass it back and we just take out 2 enchantments. No, you should make mentor tokens. We'll make mentor tokens. Relax. Taz would give you Ferocious. That's true. Tazaguring would also give us Ferocious, and then I don't have to cast 2 spells. That's true. I mean, I'm kind of hoping he plays a Daybreak. Okay, Spirit Mantle. Okay, I care about that more than the Umbra. Alright, so we're going to disenchant this. Mentor grows to power 3. And then I can denial the Mantle. I think that's fine. Another Jace. Okay, so we were flipping Jace anyway. We could have done it faster. I think that's... I don't necessarily think we needed to play Task that last turn, but I think we could have just flipped Jace that last turn. Alright. So we took a game on Bogles. We lost to Tron, which makes sense, right? I mean, like, watch this. This is brutal. Real quick, we're going to do a replay, because you guys might have missed this earlier. It did work out okay, but I don't think it was correct, right? I think I still was supposed to at least flip Jace. The other play was go ahead and just slam Tazagur, and he'll do our Ferocious for us. Yeah, so take his Worm Coil, and he's already got a Relic. He just had Turn 1 Relic, because they always do. We kept kind of a clunker, though. Hang on, let me pause for a moment. I don't think we were supposed to keep this 7. I think this 7 was weak. Anyway. Carry on. Yeah, so we faced off against 4 relics. One of them was game 1. Yeah, so I have Brutality. Now, this is where he slams the O-Stone, I think, next turn, and it's very relevant. Because even though I had a fetch land and a different land, we thought we could go for the Bloodghasts, but opponent played very clean Magic. Very good Magic. Actually, wait a minute, let me pause. If I'd gone for it here, we may have beaten the Relic. If I had just gone for it immediately, I think we actually could have beaten the O-Stone. Because what would have happened is... Oh, no, we knew about the O-Stone, though, so opponent would just wipe us after the fact. I don't know, it's complicated, and then he could Relic away our Gasts, I think... No, we didn't know about O-Stone. He drew it. Okay. So that's something we really could have played around. Yeah, so he plays the Oblivion Stone. He drew off the top. I mean, opponent's draws were fantastic, right? So we try to go for it here, right? And I'm like, maybe, maybe not. Yeah. So we try to go for it here because I do have the fetch. But opponent, I mean, the fact that he's got the stone, he just timed this perfectly. Yeah, so I draw... I don't bring back the Ghasts yet, so I play Fountain. Opponent cracks the Relic here. We fetch, bringing back the Ghasts, but opponent pops the stone. Stone kills the board, kills the Ghasts, and then we lose the Ghasts. And if I had another fetch land, we could have prevented this. Yeah, and then he has exactly... Or he has a little bit more so. And then unfortunately we lose everything. And then I Anama'd too soon. I was supposed to actually wait till after the Relic, and then I could have Anama'd setting up the Obsidat, and that was a mistake on my part. And then I think he just had like Ugin or something behind this. Yeah. Yeah, Tron always has it for sure. Check it out, DRMC. And then our second game against him, he saw 3 relics. I mean, I wouldn't put Stony Silence in my greedy mana-based Mishra's Bauble deck, even though we're in the colors for it. Yeah, so turn 1 relic, yep. But just wait. He sees 3 of these. Alright, we disenchant the first relic, which I think is fine because I have a Jace in my hand I want to flip and I have a bunch of Thought Scours. So we take out the first relic. Just wait a couple turns, guys. He has a second one. Just you wait. I thought sees the opponent. We see what? I was there. Tron's a big pain to all brewers. Yeah, so his hand was Karn and a bunch of other stuff. Well, we drew like... You'll see. Yeah, so there's the stone. It's fine. We can play through a stone. Maybe. We scour. Draw Shizu. I think I should have slammed Mentor. I didn't want to slam Mentor into the face of the stone is what it was. Yeah, so he cracks that. And this is where he draws, I think, the second relic. Just plucks it off the top. Or no, he went Breaker first, right? No? Yeah, okay. So he finds a second relic off of Stirrings. And then just greedily blows up my Jace. Okay. We play Mentor. And Jace... Or no, we play Mentor, and then I actually probably should have just slammed Jace there. Maybe that was a mistake. Yep. And the third relic. Third relic gets to exile my Lingering Souls, right? Like crazy, right? We hit a Lingering Souls off of that Thought Scour, and then opponent just has another. Just has it all. Alright, anyway. So, I actually would be interested in a lower to the ground build that's not even running Lingering Souls. Alright, Acid Judge on the wall, Whale of Nim and Regeneration. It does indeed not work. Oh, you're fine, Arthur. Don't even worry about it, my friend. Yeah, this is not exactly how regeneration works, but that's okay. Regeneration is a really weird and ancient mechanic right now. It's not that old, but it is kind of interesting. Regenerate just only pertains to like permanents on the table. Regenerate will tap the permanent. Regenerate only works for like what, specifically combat damage or damage dealt to the permanent, or destroy. It does not work on exile. I mean, there's lots of little stipulations about regenerate, of course. Yeah, so why don't we grab some of these other tutor targets and see how we like them? What do you guys think? I like the deck, very fresh. Well, we're still working out the kinks, Argo. This is like fun. This is prototype, okay? I think a 20th land would definitely be good, and I kind of want it to be the Dakmor Salvage because of the Bloodghasts. These are our only 3 drops in the main board. Like, I mean, that's another reason to add the 20th land. We do have 3 drops. I have Footsteps as a 3 drop. I have Mentors and the board, so... He-Who and Obsidat, and then Pitlord is the top of the curve that we're never casting, ever. Actually, no, Iname's here. We have hardcast Iname, but that's not ideal. We actually hardcast Iname to beat our Bogle's opponent a moment ago. Game 1. Actually, we hardcast the Iname and brought back a bunch of hasty. But here's the thing. How did the game get to that board state? Who did it? It was Obsidat. I still really, really love the first or maybe second Obsidat in this shell. I could even see cutting the second footsteps for the second Obsidat, but anyway.
Hey, Sean. I bought a WAP token.
Oh, snap. All right, well, I finished the league. So I might actually be turning in. I mean, it's stream ends in 9 minutes anyways. Sorry, guys, I was talking to my brother. He's visiting for a break.
Let's see if I can,
You going to buy it?
I'm going to see if it already updated my pattern money.
Okay. I think we're not going to run another league tonight, but I'll go ahead and consider these two. Can you guys think of anything spicier? DR or Arthur or any of you guys? Brother. Somebody in chat said, brother.
Brother!
Brother.
Yeah, it did. Wow, that was quick. Jesus Christ. 5 digital things. It's like even Blizzard's telling me, it's like, are you sure this is what you want to buy?
You sure we can't interest you in Diablo 3, right? That's what they're asking?
Right, yeah, it's like, are you sure we can't interest you in Diablo 3 rather than Necromancer? It's like, no. You know why? I already wasted my fucking money on it.
Yeah. I think I want to work more with the Name and turn it into a combo kill. I would really appreciate that, Arthur, actually. That would be super cool with you. Because this deck is so close, man. I mean, we could run more creatures like Bloodghast, like Nether Nether Trader? I mean, we could look into more cards that can turn on, like, Sakai. But that's not a combo kill either. Right, Sakai doesn't kill them immediately. There is that one, like, Devouring Greed, but that's more cards. Why don't you just run Flamekin Zealot? Yeah, I mean, there's Unearth cards to look into. I mean, is there a spirit that has Unearth? There's some spirits that have Channel.
Does it smell like a skunk to you?
It does smell like skunk. Yeah. It smells like a skunk in our basement right now. There's, like, Unearth to think about. There's Channel. Channel is another mechanic that I think was on some number of spirits. I don't think any of... Yeah, I don't think there's any spirits that had Unearth. I'm almost positive they're all zombies or some sort. Let's see. Spirit Channel. Why don't you just make it Kokoshu? Right, we turn to a combo deck instantly with Arcane, but we don't want that. I'm not saying we don't. I'm okay with the occasional 2-card combo. I mean, it's technically a 3-card combo. It's more like a 4-card combo, and you want to know why, Stream? Because we have to put this into the graveyard somehow, and there are really not very good ways to do that in Modern. Then I also have to have one of these, right? So, like, already we're a 3-card combo. We're already like a 3... You know, like, you add a 4th card, and it's just like, all right, BrewSpy. I'm just looking at the different legendaries with Channel. Or just spirits in general. The cool thing about Channel is they would ditch themselves to the graveyard for us, but there don't seem to be any really good ones. Yeah. This guy's interesting. Target player discards 4 cards, but... None of these are legendary, are they? There's also this guy. Hang on, there's a legendary spirit that makes 3/3s if you cast spirit or arcane spells. No, you can't call cantrips part of the combo. It's more like deck. Well, I mean, that's like why like Thought Scour and Jace and maybe even Bauble can kind of get away with it. Right, I mean, we could call... Okay, you could argue, okay, BrewSpy, it's a 2-card combo, right? Because you need Reanimate Spell and you need Dude. But, like, you had to put Dude in the graveyards, like Jace or Brutality or Thought Scour, you know, had to... Like, one of these had to have happened. Like, I'd love to have more of this in the deck. I mean, like, a lot of the other Goryo's decks, they're running, like, Liliana the Veil or what have you to increase the, I mean, you could also argue that thought seizing ourselves as a line we'll have to take occasionally. We did that once tonight, right? Where we had to thought seize ourselves to make it work. So, where's the one that, oh yeah, Ayobi, who split the heavens. The problem is how are we gonna reanimate him and then also cast another spirit or arcane spell behind? You know, I just don't know. There's also what is it? The unforgivable, unspeakable. Unspeakable. Unspeakable is another card that we could consider. The unspeakable. I also looked into Nishal. Like, there's other cards that have come out that I've been thinking about. Like, there's Jin, there's Nishal, there's the unspeakable. I wish that the unspeakable was a spirit. Actually, I think it is. Yeah. Unspeakable is interesting. Unspeakable lets us... Yeah, so this is actually really interesting. So what would the unspeakable do for this deck? It would let us have a 6/7 flying trampler that gives us back a Goryo's or a Footsteps. We could also discard to hand size. Yeah. Right. I'm just saying, you know, that's not really what you want to do in Modern, though. Trust me. You want to be a little more proactive than that. How will someone fight against Leyline? Sideboard. I mean, like, we're not going to hit the disenchant unless we want to run more of that effect. We're going to be sideboarding. The Unspeakable had interesting, different flavor, different art. Cool. But yeah, like, this guy's interesting. I just don't think it's powerful enough. So we hit them with a 6/7, and then we get the Vengeance or the Footsteps back. Maybe that's good enough. I don't think it is. I mean, it's nice that we get to hit them for 6 potentially, and then we get to do it. We get to reuse the Vengeance or the Footsteps. I don't know. Nishal is tough. So Nishal is a 7/7 that we have to discard 3 cards to keep it. I like Nishal though, because it says whenever an opponent casts a non-creature spell, draw a card. So you could like do it during your opponent's turn, and then if they cast spells, we draw cards. Chart seems great here. The last one? You mean Chart a Course? I don't know if I would do Chart a Course. I would do, what's the one with Gideon and... Is it Chart a Course? What about that one card? Isn't there the one where it's like it's a picture of like Gideon and Jace and they're talking about things? I also considered doing a more grindy build that was more like, yeah, draw 2 unless you, yeah. I thought about doing a more grindy build that was more about, oh, what is that card? You have to run a spell heavier build, but it was like, thank you. Yeah, strategic planning or, what's the one that Storm runs? There's a 3-drop that Storm runs. Yeah, like planning or, it's like look the top 5 instant and sorcery. What's interesting about this is this would help us dig to the Footsteps or the Vengeances. Where's the card I'm thinking of? Storm runs it in their sideboard at least. Oh, what is it called? The problem is like neither strategic planning nor the other card actually does. Goryo Giseth. Hey, buddy.
What's up?
You ready to play?
Huh? No, I'm still.
You still downloading?
You used to download the fucking downloader. Download.
Dude, you're still downloading. Oh yeah, Colossus is a spirit too.
Old Blizzard didn't have it down yet. That thing was still not going to make a druid or an assassin. They're just terrible.
Which all right, hold up. Oh, okay, I get it now. So you Gisath, yeah, so you Gisath, and then, yeah. Oh, it sounds like you're playing, buddy.
And I still have to install it.
Oh, that's the worst.
I know.
That is the
I don't
worst.
understand what I have to do, but
Okay, let me put this on screen so we can all see this wonderful beautifulness. So I get it. I kind of get it. Like, we're trying to cast 0 mana Galtas. Or, yeah. You're trying to cast, like, a 2 mana Galta, right? So I looked into... There are other cards that I could be running in the deck. We're currently running that. The Bloodghasts combo with. There's a demon that does, by the way.
oh shit.
Yeah, so you're Gizathing, and you get to reveal how many. So however much damage he gets in, we get to reveal that many off the top and put them into the... I mean, that's sweet. Yeah, Colossus is a dragon. This looks sweet, man. I don't hate it at all. I don't. This is sweet. Yeah. And you're in red, so you get Neonate and you get looting. Yeah. I don't have any of these cards in paper, so I'm probably not going to build it. But this is a really cool concept, and I'm sure somebody else would love that. Yeah, shapeshifters are sweet. I looked into doing Hakan. Yes, they are considered a spirit, correct. But here's what I was thinking originally. There's actually a demon that combos with Iname. Watch this. Demon, sacrifice 3 black, creature, pay 6. And it's a lot. I mean, that's a lot to do, right? Here he is. So I actually looked into this guy. So the problem, and I'm not even thinking about cards like Path or Terminate at this point. Like, the problem with this interaction, instead of running like He Who and Pit Lord, like let's say we spend our last few card slots. He's not legendary, so I can't even Vengeance him, right? But let's talk about this card. So what's the dealio with this card? Why could this potentially work for our deck? You sacrifice Iname and 1 or 2 Bloodghasts and you get Demon. That deck is straight fire. So Demon would kind of serve as what you were doing, Dorotheus, in your deck, the Galta. Demon kind of is my Galta. So we get a 9/9 flying trample, but we have to pay 6 and sacrifice the Iname and some Ghasts. Yeah, but in a pinch you can reanimate Nez, pitch your hand to protect it. Yeah, I like Nez. And Nez you get to keep. Nezi you keep. With, I don't know if you know that, with Vengeance you can keep this. Yeah, Nez is sweet. I thought about running Nez in my build even though we're not dinosaurs, just for that fact. Like, you know. What about Razaketh? Yeah, Razaketh is interesting. I mean, I'd love to find a way to utilize the, like, Demon would be a way to utilize our Bloodghasts in a way that we just haven't found a way to do it. That's why I wanted to be on Sekai. We'll talk about this guy. Like, that's why I wanted to be on Sekai. Because Sekai, the problem is 4 Ghast isn't enough. Like, this was kind of the same, like, this is kind of a similar idea, turning the Bloodghasts into a Dread Return, whereas this is just enabling it from our hand. But what if you're stuck with this guy? Like, he doesn't do anything else besides Iname. And it might just be win more, and there's certain matchups where the 6th life is very, very relevant. Yeah, I mean, Razaketh is interesting. Yeah, turn the Bloodghasts into... Did you download it, bud?
Yeah,
You're in? Oh, okay. All right, guys, so it's 12:04. Stream technically ended 4 minutes ago. Thank you so much for coming tonight. I'll see you guys Thursday. If you guys have more ideas for this deck, please hit me up. My brother isn't always here, so I'm going to spend the night hanging out with him playing some old video games.
It's a fucking cow.
Oh, wait, are you in a cow level? Why did you do that?
Listen.
I hear. All right, guys, I'm going to play some Diablo 2 with my younger brother, but think on this stuff. Oh, Scab Ruinator? Ruinator's a zombie horror, though. He's not a freaking spirit. And that's my problem with Demon. Demon has to be in our hand. We have to do the Iname combo, and this has to be in our hand. But this might be better than some bullets, you know? Like, Demons might be exactly what this deck wants. Like, pay 6 life, sack a couple of Ghasts, and the Iname put this into play. I mean, this might be exactly what the deck is trying to do. So I'm not sold.
This is absolutely
I think our last 2 deck spots should either be something like Demon or these. I heard Diablo 2. Yeah, we're playing some Diablo 2. Nezzy, Loch Ness Monster. I get it now. All right, Dorotheus. I'll see you guys next stream, though. Yeah. See you guys Thursday. Be thinking about this deck, though. I'm trying to make it work. Yeah, Path of Diablo. My bro might like that game, but we're playing like classic right now. All right, I'll see you guys on the next show.